Hey, friends, and my fabulous people that are listening at this moment. I am JoJo Bear, and you're listening to Sex Talk with JoJo Bear. And thank you for listening. You can like, you can follow, you can subscribe. And it's just random conversational with myself and you because you're listening to me right at this moment. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And today I wanted to talk about um, three ways. Mhm. Yeah, three ways. Like, yeah, no, three ways. Have you ever had one? You can nod your head if you had one. Have you ever had a good one? Mm. Some people are afraid to have them, especially when they're couples and they're opening up their relationship. They're like, oh, it's going to be so hard that, that one person's going to like him more than he likes me or want to have sex with me more than my partner. Okay, so let me give you a little bit of information. If you are under a rock, which some of us have been in the past, a three-way is to engage in sexual intercourse with two other partners simultaneously. Okay, I got that from Urban Dictionary. So I am giving props to Urban Dictionary. I'm not going to read the example because it's very heteronormative, but it could be generally involving two males and one female. It could be generally involving three males, a man, a woman, and another woman, a trans person, two trans people, and two non-binary people, three non-binary people. It's just the three-way. Okay, so I'm gonna not generalize it, and then yes, I am gonna generalize it because I'm gonna talk to you a little bit about three ways and what you can do to have a successful three-way. How about that? Does that sound good for you? Mm-hmm. Okay, so let me just tell you that I've had my share of three-ways with folks, and a couple of times I've had them with partners, right? So there's been partnered three-ways. There are some partners, there's some couples that don't want to have sex outside of the relationship if they're separate. So sometimes what happens is if I'm having sex with a couple that is already established partner, husbands or whatnot, the trick for me is that I have to find both of them attractive, right? And something about the couple that I really like and that I want more of. And it's great and it's important to have these conversations of like, are both of you guys attracted to me? Am I attracted to both of them? Get all the information, like gather information. It's like going on a date or sex date or something, is that the really key ingredient is to gather more information. Okay, so that's key. That is key. So sometimes just jumping into it and learning through experimenting can bring up a lot of insecurities. Okay, so a lot of times I recommend, and this is something I do now, is that I have that conversation and not with just one, because there's always one that is way more gung-ho on having sex and the other partner is a little bit trepidatious, a little bit shy, that type of thing. But I like talking to both of them. I like to make sure that I have communicated with both of them and they have communicated with me. And also I ask them what their limits are. Like sometimes they don't want to be penetrated. Sometimes they both want to be penetrated. Sometimes there's more of a kink or a fetish that one of them has that the other one doesn't. And so that's when it gets important to actually to have that conversation to say, hey, what are you dudes into? What are you into separately? Because sometimes when couples open up their relationship sexually, it means sometimes, I'm just saying often or sometimes, that one of them is really into something that the other one isn't. Maybe both of them are tops, maybe, God forbid, unicorns. Maybe both of them are bottoms, maybe both, one's more kinkier than the other, one likes more beefier guys and the other one likes skinny guys. So it's really important to find out what is either one's agenda. And if it gels up with you, like if it feels like, oh wow, like I can roll with both of them, like it doesn't mean you have to endure, it just means like, hey, you know what, I can be into that. That can be really cool. And what I recommend, which I have done, is to really give both of them eye contact, spend a lot of time going back and forth, checking in. Hey, does this work? Is this hot? Really like cultivating a space where you could be generous. Like I can be generous with my body, with my sexuality, and also ask for what I want. That's really important. Like if you have two guys that want to, or two people that want to do something with you, um, let's see what they want to do to you, right? Like what would you guys like to do to me, right? And so having that clarity at the get-go is super important, right? The great thing about it is also is that there is a lot of pleasure to be had when there's more than one person. So if you have three people in having sex, there is this element of there always someone being touched. Maybe one person wants to watch, maybe one person wants to film, maybe one person wants to jump in, then jump back out and jump in. And I think it's really important to also know that if it's a couple, to understand what's the dynamics of their relationship, right? So that's a key ingredient for me, at least, is just like, hey, are you guys open? Like if something comes up, having like a safe word, like if something feels uncomfortable, we can stop, right? Now, I'm sharing all of this as an educator. When you're in the middle of it, it's really hard when you're all horned up and someone says, oh my God, like we got to stop. And they're having a kind of relationship thing happening, because that happened to me once. I was in, oh God, I'm going to share this. Okay. I was hanging out with these two guys. This is when I lived in Los Angeles, and I was hanging out with these two guys. And I'm going to be really general with this, because if they ever listen to this, they're going to know it's them. And there were these really two cute guys, and they were monogamish-ish, but they also had three ways. And I was into both of them. Like they were both really yummy. And I remember I was laying down, and one of them was laying on top of me and was kind of simulating like he was fucking me, penetrating me. And he wasn't. Like it totally wasn't. Like I could have a whole conversation why it's hard for me to bottom, but we're not talking about that right now. And so the other guy was like kissing me, and then he started thinking that his partner was penetrating me, and he like stopped and like turned to his partner and said, what are you doing? What are you doing? Right. And I don't know if it was I was under the impression that like there was no penetration going to happen, especially without a condom. Okay, this was years ago, so this would be pre-prep. And so anyway, long story long, they got into it. They started, like he actually told his partner, I'm not penetrating him, I'm not penetrating him. And they started getting into a little bit of discomfort. There was a little bit of discomfort, and I like totally did not know what to do. My body went into freeze. I was like, yikes, I'm in the middle of something really awkward. And after that, I think that the sex kind of stopped, and it was like it kind of slowed down, and I think we were trying to like have orgasms, but it just didn't happen. And why I'm telling you that story is because is what I said earlier, is that there's such an importance on figuring out what is the couple's agreements with each other, right? So in a lot of ways, having a three-way or opening up your relationship to have three ways, it's super important to kind of communicate your agreements with each other, right? It's really nice and fun to say, oh, let's have three ways, let's have three ways, let's have three ways. But what are the limits to all of this? That is a super key ingredient. Now, three ways can be lots of fun. Like if it's two randos, two stranger guys, I also say find out if they are compatible, find out if you all three are compatible, and then just have fun, right? You know, be safe, sane, and sometimes I say sober about it, because some, you know, some guys can be a little bit unconscious about their generosity and just take a lot without consent. So, but it can be really beautiful to be witnessed and be in that vulnerable state of having two other people with you and celebrating your sexuality with two other people. And it's also very sexy, it's kind, it's loving. And if you find the right couple, or if you find the right two people to experiment with and play with, it could be quite liberating. It could be really quite liberating. But the key to this conversation about three ways is, well, I believe that it should be this thing that is talked about. Sometimes even if it's spontaneous, let's say you're on a vacation, or, you know, something with your partner, or it should be talked about. It should be communicated. What are the guidelines? What's the agreements? What are we keeping in between the lines? What needs to be communicated? You know, the regards of safe sex, of knowing a person's history. And then when you're doing it solo with two other random strangers, it is about, once again, communicating, being really clear, knowing what you want, knowing what everybody wants. And there are times where people don't know what they want. They just know like they're really horned up and they want to be with somebody. It is totally fine to talk about it. Make it a little bit of a ritual. Like, what are we going to do beforehand? What are you into, right? I mean, you think of the stuff like you see on all these chat lines and all these different hookup sites. You get a little bit of a person's preference, but having that space to communicate a little bit deeper, so that there are no expectations, or there, if you're expecting something, then you know that that may or may not happen. So three ways are fun. Honey, go experiment. Allow yourself to really explore. If you're a couple wanting to open up your relationship, or if you're just a guy that, or a gal, or whoever's listening to this, wanting to play with two other people, it can be quite liberating and fun. So that's it for me. Enjoy yourself. Maybe make that one of your New Year's resolutions to have a three-way. And then let me know about it. So thanks for listening. If no one's told you they love you today, I'm telling you. Ciao for now.